no matter the location. From O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Today's show, I'm going to dive into the latest Raiders rumors. We're going to do some NFL news around Patrick Mahomes, of course. But the main focus of today's show is going to be around Clowney and whether or not he's going to be a member of this team. So don't go anywhere. And at the very end, we're going to talk about Chad Johnson because he had some interesting things to say on Twitter. Let's first dive into the latest around Clowney. And if you live under a rock, if you don't, subscribe to our main Chat Sports channel, I encourage you to do so. The Raiders, they made an offer to Clowney. That is the latest report. And the reason why they did that is because Jon Gruden apparently really wants him. Now, despite the fact that he really wants him, apparently 2 or 3 other teams have offered him more money. And what really is holding Clowney up at this point, I think, is a matter of fit. But the main reason is because of money. You're looking at a player that wanted $20 million, then said, you know what, I'll drop it down to $17 to $18 million, and now I think he's kind of shot himself in the foot. The reason why this is interesting, though, is because we'll backtrack a little bit. Because back in May, ESPN said the Raiders have absolutely no interest in Jadeveon Clowney whatsoever. And when I saw that report, I was like, you know what? I kind of believe it. We got a solid player in Cleveland Ferrell. Got a really solid player in Max Crosby. You go out and sign Carl Nassib. So why would the Raiders want to go out and get a player with only 3 sacks? Well, there's a lot of other things that Clowney is able to offer to this football team. And I'll even make the argument, when you really look at his numbers from last year, you see that he has only 3 sacks, but a lot of pressures, a lot of hurries, and he's able to hit the quarterback. But the number that I don't have on screen is his ability to contribute, especially in the rushing game, because believe it or not, he is actually very, very good against the run. And last time I checked, that is still a very important part of the National Football League. So for those of you that are watching right now, I got a question. How many Chucky heads, okay? I'm going to ask you before I give you my answer. How many Chucky heads Clowney to the Raiders? If you're saying 0 Chucky heads, I want you to type 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many Chucky heads Clowney to the Raiders? I'm going to tell you right after I tell you what the heck a Chucky head means. So for those of you that are wondering, wait a minute, what the heck is a Chucky head? It's probably because you're not subscribed. So go ahead, click that sub button. That way you don't miss anything. If I say something's 4 Chucky heads, it means it is 100% going to happen, in my opinion. 0 Chucky heads means it's not going to happen. So Jadeveon Clowney going to the Raiders, this one's 1 Chucky head. I think it's a small shred of truth. When I say 1 Chucky head, I'm going to say it's like a 10% chance at this point. So with the fact that the Raiders are interested, but according to Victor 4, they are in a distant third. So there are 2 other teams ahead of the Raiders in terms of going out and getting Clowney. And the fact that we're not just third, we are a distant third. And I understand that Jon Gruden wants Clowney. And a lot of times, it's funny that Gruden ends up getting his way. But Mark Davis, Mike Mayock, they are unwilling to pay more. I don't have the exact number on Clowney. However, if they are unwilling to get more and they're in third place, the only way Clowney's going to want to come to us, in my opinion, is if, he sees that it's a better fit or if he thinks that he can make a little bit more money down the road. So right now the Raiders have only $7.9 million in cap space. That's important to remember. Plus, we don't have any of our rookies signed yet. So if you would have asked me, Mitch, who are the top 3 teams most likely to go out and get Clowney last week, if you would have asked me this, I would have said the Seattle Seahawks, I would have said the Tennessee Titans, and then I would have said the Cleveland Browns. But now, there was a little bit more news that came out today around the Cleveland Browns, around Olivier Vernon. So now I would say my top 3 teams most likely to go out and get Clowney are the Seattle Seahawks, the Tennessee Titans, and now the Las Vegas Raiders. So why exactly are the Browns off my list? Well, yes, it's not the Browns report, but I do want to at least fill you in because it does pertain to Clowney, and I do think it could actually impact the Raiders as well. The Browns renegotiated Vernon's contract, so before he was set to make $15.25 million. Now he's going to make $7 million, can make up to $9.25 million in incentives. And what does this mean? In my opinion, this means that the Browns are no longer in the running for Clowney. So if it's a 3-man race, the Raiders now, in my opinion, are in that top 3 to go out and get the premier defensive end, premier edge rusher, and I would even make the argument, that's not even an argument I think at this point, the number 1 player in free agency. There's no doubt he's talented. There's no doubt he's going to be able to bring a lot to you, and honestly, it'd be really fun to actually see him, I think, in some silver and black. So if you look below, you'll see Raiders hats at chatsports.com/Raiders hats. You can get all different kinds. So they got the beanies like this that you see on screen. Also, they have hats as low as $16.79, which is the one that you see on screen here as well. If you need to cover up your hair, you're just having a bad hair day in general and you want to rep your team, you can do that at chatsports.com/Raiders hats. I went to the airport, and I'll tell you what, I had one heck of a rough night, I'll be honest with you. Then I went to the airport the next day, and my hair looked like an absolute mess. That's why I was like, you know what, I need to show some Raiders hats because I was getting some weird looks. But also, I actually really like these Las Vegas Raiders 2020 draft hats. This one comes in a snapback form. They're all, right now, some of them as low as 30% off as well. You can get these at chatsports.com/Raiders hats. I'll put it in the comments, which is there now, and I'll also put it in the description if you guys watch this, we'll say a little bit later on tonight here on Tuesday. Chatsports.com/Raiders hats. So let's go out and say now Clowney comes to the Raiders, right? This is all scenario. Would he play defensive end? I'm going to give this one 3 chalky heads, and I think it's pretty likely, and it's basically 95%. I think that he would end up playing defensive end. And when I went on Twitter and when I went on Instagram, which sometimes I like to do, that's why I always say, hey, guys, follow me, at MitchellRens365. I was amazed on the amount of people that really thought that Clowney wouldn't end up playing defensive end. So I was like, okay, well, I don't see why you would go out and sign Jadeveon if you don't plan to play him at defensive end. And can you really have too much depth at DE? I don't think so, especially when you got to go up against Patrick Mahomes, and apparently we got to go up against Patrick Mahomes for the next, 10 years. So I do have a few questions, and I got 4 questions, actually. The first one is, are you subscribed? I want you to type Y for yes, or I do want you to type your N for no. And if you're not subscribed, hey, let me know what I got to do to get you to click that sub button, because here at the Raiders Report, it is about the interaction we create. The more fans we get here, the more shows I'm able to do. Honestly, I wasn't able to do a show on Friday because we didn't hit our 49K mark. So if you are a fan of the show, if you want me to continue to do daily videos, tell your friends to subscribe. So if you're wondering where that sub button is, it is right underneath the video that you're watching now. And it literally is in big words. It says subscribe. If you're like, wait a minute, Mitch, I can't find that, we'll put the link in the description. It'll also be in the comments section. All I'm asking is this: free daily videos about the Raiders. Sound good? Seeing a lot of yeses, which I like to see. And if you are typing your N for no, hey, please hit that sub button. All right, 3 more questions for you. Who's the better defensive end? Jadeveon Clowney, type J, or Max Crosby, type M? If this question offends you, I'm sorry. Maybe the Raiders Report isn't for you whatsoever. It's just simply a question. Think about it, then answer in the comments section. So type J for Jadeveon or type M for Max. Here's what they did last season, okay? It's pretty incredible to me that Max, a 4th-round rookie, was able to put up some of these numbers. Now, the number that y'all are probably going to go right to is sacks, because Max had 10, Jadeveon had 3. However, in a game of numbers, if Clowney had more pressures, more hurries, twice as many hits, yes, Crosby had more forced fumbles, but a game of just numbers alone, it actually wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if he can convert more of those hurries, more of those pressures, into more sacks. It also wouldn't be surprising to me if Crosby goes from 10 sacks maybe down to like 8 or 7. So a lot of tough questions here, okay? The next question I'm going to ask, who's the better defensive end out of these 2 players? I want you to type CN for Carl Nassib, who the Raiders went out and signed for 3 years, $25 million. Or is it Jadeveon Clowney? I want you to type JC. The reason why I'm asking you all these questions is because right now we have 3 big defensive ends. It's Crosby, it's Nassib, it's Cleveland Ferrell. If you don't think that Clowney is better than any 3 of these players, I don't know if you go out and sign him. If you think he's better than all of them, you go out and sign him. If you think he's better than only one guy, in my opinion, you still go out and sign him. Now, Carl Nassib played a little bit of linebacker, played a little bit of DE for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and as great as I think he is, I don't think he's in the same argument as a player like Jadeveon Clowney. So we already went through Max. We already went through Carl Nassib, which now means this one, okay? This is, I think, the multi-million-dollar question. Who's the better defensive end for the Raiders? If you think it's Jadeveon Clowney, I want you to type C. If you think it's Cleveland Ferrell, I want you to go down in the comments section and type F. Both players, I think, are great. And I think Cleveland can live up to it. But again, you're talking about a player, Clowney, who is a lot more, we'll say, established in the NFL. And I know a lot of you get mad at Clowney for, him maybe taking some plays off or for him doing a few things on and off the field. But realistically, it's really hard to say that Cleveland Ferrell is better than Clowney. So a lot of the times, why do I think Clowney's going to play defensive end? It's simply because I am going to put him over Cleveland Ferrell. So let's say we make the move. Let's say the Raiders, you go out, you sign Clowney. I think that does make him the starter at the left defensive end position. Then you have Max Crosby over there, which then makes Carl Nassib then his backup. And I do think then Cleveland plays backup to Clowney. If y'all don't like that, if you want to get mad at me for saying that, hey, I'm sorry. The Raiders Report is about me giving my honest opinion. and I'll take Jadeveon Clowney over Cleveland Ferrell. Now, the next graphic I'm going to show you, we're going to have a little bit of fun here, okay? And I want you to grade this Raiders front. Let's just say the Raiders go out and get Clowney, and they're like, you know what? I want to get Cleveland on the field. I want to get Max on the field. I want to get Mo Hurst on the field. What happens if you go out and put Nassib and Clowney as your outside linebackers, plus you have Nick Kwiatkowski and Corey Littleton as your other linebackers? Let's just say they're trying to run a 3-4 front. What do y'all think about this? Now, I understand that the Raiders run a 4-3, but you know what? It looks actually kind of interesting to me. So what I want you to do is go and grade it. A, B, C, D, or F. If you want to know what my grade is, y'all know where to find me. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. Let's now get into some NFL news, shall we? And believe me, I hate the Chiefs as much as y'all. However, we do have to talk about them because you got to keep your friends close, enemies closer, and, well, the Chiefs are keeping Patrick Mahomes very, very close for a very long time. So 10 years, $450 million deal. It's worth up to $503 million in incentives. It is the largest contract in sports history. Do I think that he's worth it? Honestly, if he keeps doing what he's doing, kind of. But he's been putting up some crazy numbers. So the real reason why I wanted to put this on the show today is because the fact that the Raiders now have to go up against this guy in their own division for realistically the next 10 years, I think the Raiders also then need to start the plan of how the heck can we possibly compete with the Chiefs? How can we get after Patrick Mahomes? How can we slow down this offense? And I think one of the reasons why the Raiders now all of a sudden are linked to Jadeveon Clowney is because they're like, wait a minute, we got to slow this guy down. We need all the pass rush we can possibly have. But now Mahomes is unbelievably talented. He's shown that in the regular season. He's shown that in the playoffs. And yes, he is the highest paid quarterback now in the NFL per year, and it's not really close. The bottom line is this. As much as I love Derek Carr, the Raiders do need to start to think, hey, how can we make this team better? How can we make this team just able to be able to compete with a guy like Patrick Mahomes? But I also want y'all to think about this. What if Mahomes doesn't totally work out? I don't think that's going to happen. But paying a player that much money is, I think, really going to hurt the Chiefs and able to, well, put some pieces around him. The offense will be fine. It's the defense where it wouldn't surprise me later on down the road the Chiefs might regret this. So what's your one-word reaction, okay, to the Patrick Mahomes deal? I mean, 10 years, $450 million, up to $503 million in incentives. This is a lot of money. What's your one-word reaction? Somebody just said, I hate the Chiefs. John Wick, appreciate your comment. We got Julian says, oh, can't say that. Remember, if you guys curse, it ends up getting blocked. So somebody said sweet, nope, rich, darn, nuts. Somebody said bad. Don't forget your ball toner from Giant Dwarf. It's not a one-word reaction, but it's all good, okay? So continue to type in your one-word reactions. Let me get a drink. Somebody said ridiculous. You know what else is ridiculous? This awesome deal I got coming up for y'all right now. So for $24.99, you can get 3 Raiders face masks, okay? All you got to do it is go to chatsports.com/Raiders mask. So you can get all 3 of those. They ship in 2 business days. Now, I've seen a lot of companies out there throwing out 3 Raiders masks or Raiders masks in general, and you got to wait sometimes a month, 2 months. No, I'm telling you right now, if you use the link that you see on screen, which is in the comments and the description, it will ship in 2 business days. Rep your team. Stay safe. What's better than that? All right, we'll keep the show moving here, and I'm going to go a little bit quicker. The Raiders, they are still hiring at Allegiant Stadium, so if you're looking for a part-time job, they're looking to fill 4,500. Mitch, why does this matter? Well, they're hiring for game day staff. I'm hoping that means that the games are still going to be rolling in. We already know that 2 preseason games have been canceled. There's already been some reports that they might cancel all the preseason games. My hope is this. You keep hiring staff, means games are going to happen. An easy way to make games happen, go out there, stay safe, chatsports.com/Raiders mask. Another story that I saw is around this. Chad Johnson posted on Twitter a picture of himself wearing a Raiders helmet and said, getting ready for a workout with the Raiders. So, I got asked, Mitch, is Chad Johnson coming to the Raiders? No. Remember the Chucky heads? This one's 0 Chucky heads. Tuck rule, tuck that. I understand he posted a picture. I understand that he reached out to Amik Robert and said, hey, get ready for me. But let's just get one thing straight. Chad Johnson is not going to be a member of the Las Vegas Raiders. The man hasn't played in the NFL since 2011. Okay, it's not just like a few years. It's since 2011. And he is 42 years old. And if you honestly want my opinion, he has a better chance to make this team as a kicker than he does as a wide receiver. We do not need a wide receiver that's 42 years old. Somebody said, well, he runs faster than Jason Witten. Honestly, yeah, you're probably right there. However, he's not going to be able to block, and Chad Johnson's not going to get on the field. If he wants to honestly make this team, Chad, if you're watching, go out and try out for kicker. Because you tried to be a kicker in the XFL, but then you didn't show up to your workout, and, well, that didn't work out. But Chad Johnson of the Raiders, no way. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this. I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.